viewers back at home. Welcome to another episode of The Conversation. My name is Nkirika, and we're going to discuss a very important topic known as primitive acquisition. For me, that's another synonym for greed. And with me to do this gist, from my right are
Chukwumahaka,
Uchideka Suzu,
Hamilton Obeidi.
We're going to go back to this gist after this break.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take its pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh, you know.
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
Yes. If she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, you know, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I said,
okay, what can I do? For money, well, I'm an event planner, so I can plan events for money. Your wedding, your engagement, whatever, I can plan it for money. What can I do? I can do manual labor for money. Like, you know, construction sites, break, carry stuff. I can hawk. Forget the fine face. I can hawk for money if it's necessary. What else? What else can I do for money? Yeah. Okay, I can slap someone for money, I can beat someone for money, I can steal it, I guess I can't kill my mother for money. Yeah, I can't kill my mother for money. I love my mom a lot, she has sacrificed a lot for me, so I can't kill my mother because of money. Any other person is disposable. Really? It's money!
We always want more. We're expecting the guy to do so much more. And it's pressure for the guys at work. You're wondering, okay, should I do some other things just to make money, to make this woman happy? I think our expectation sometimes for Nigerian women is a bit high.
You're right. I agree with you. I agree with you.
I think those days guys will always get married once they left school.
Just wondering, you know, what if I go into this one? What if he breaks my heart just one more time?
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, the topic we're talking about is primitive acquisition. And this is The Conversation. My name is Nkirika. We're going to talk about, you know, when I say primitive acquisition, we're talking about getting those things that we don't really need. For instance, some of us have like 140 shoes.
please show me the address of the person's house.
The address. Have like 440 shoes, or just getting that so many houses that only one person is going to live in. You understand? Like I said, in quotes, greed. So why do we acquire so much when we don't really need them? Ogachuk, Safa. Between a little birdie told me that you might be suffering from this melody.
Well, yes, all of us are guilty. We are all guilty. If you ask me, there are lots of us who are getting things that we don't need in our homes, or things that we're supposed to get rid of. Like I'm a lover of shoes. Mm-hmm. I'm a lover of shirts. I'm a lover of other good things, and sometimes you see myself buying things that I bought because I love, mm-hmm. and I end up not using, and it continues like that, and I don't know what to do. But sometimes also, at times I talk to myself. If I look at in my wardrobe and there are certain I have not used, I pull them out and also distribute. It's a habit that I am trying consciously to see if I could cut off. Sometimes I buy things on impulse. I just see it and I like it. And I'm picking it and getting home, I'm not using it. So if you are in my shoes and you're guilty, listen to us so that we'll digest on how and the impacts of this to our lives and finance, and to the larger society also, what we could use this free cash or free things that we buy, how we can use it to make life better for other people. Because for me, it's not a good thing, it's not a good habit. Some think it's only for the rich. I don't think so.
Okay.
A lot of other people also, the so-called struggling people also buy this. Mine, I buy because of love. Maybe because I like a particular shoe, I like a particular shirt, I like a particular dress. But others buy because they want to impress. I've had someone say recently, I'm buying that car so that when I go home, my village people, this guy also has cars. And I asked them, I said, you don't buy car for village people, you buy car for yourself. He said, no, I need to make a statement. So many people try to get these things because they want to impress people. And I always do some kind of joke. If I ask you the clothes you wear 2 Sundays ago, would you remember?
Not really.
It's taking you time to think about the clothes you wore 2 Sundays ago. So I always say that a lot of us take time to borrow money to buy things that we don't, to impress those who don't know we live or we exist. So if you fall in that category, it's not a good lifestyle, it's not a good thing to do. Find a way to push it out.
So you're saying primitive acquisition is not just a rich man syndrome?
It's not a rich man syndrome.
It's also
it's a societal thing.
syndrome. It's a societal thing.
Everybody has
Whether
it. It's our Nigerian thing.
Rich, middle
Everybody
class.
wants, some buy to impress, some buy to make a statement, some even go out of their way to borrow.
Okay.
Some even buy on credit. I told my designer one day, I said, we were discussing about people who come to him to make clothes yet and they don't pay. I said, listen, clothes is not medicine.
No necessity.
Nobody's life is dependent on it, and nobody knows when I have it or not. So I can't come to your shop, pick a cloth I can't pay for. So anybody doing that is very mental, because you don't need to tell me how many clothes you have.
Okay, what do you think?
Well, really, I want to look at it as a toxic habit.
Okay.
It's a habit and it's toxic.
Right.
Because we're just saying greed and you're buying things you don't need.
Do you have that problem?
Well, I engage in compulsive buying once in a while. You know, you see something and, oh, I like this. But what I've discovered about human nature is that you always find something that you like. There's something that is your own fancy. Something is your own addiction. You know, he just mentioned he loves shirts. But I noticed my own, for me, it's, I swing between two things. Sometimes I have this obsession for shoes.
Oh, wow.
For that period, it's all shoes. On a serious note, I think if I count the number of shoes I have, I will count nothing less than 80 pairs. It's 150. I will count nothing. If I gather everything, plus slippers, plus canvas, plus my trainers, I will count nothing less than 80 pairs. On a serious note. So, and at other times, the addiction switches to something else. Okay. It's like you see clothes and then, what is it? We have to buy this clothes now. You know, but a lot of times too, I also tell myself, do you really need this? You just walk away.
Pass.
You know, so it's something I discover it happens to everybody. It's something that we all do. But I think where it really gets bad for me, what I think is where it really gets bad is when you want to satisfy that craving and there's somebody beside you that has a more urgent need. That's where it becomes a problem. And in the course of doing that, you don't even sometimes stop to think of somebody somewhere that has a need. So if you have somebody that has a need, are you willing to make a sacrifice and forget about that thing and help somebody else? That is where it really becomes a problem. So in the course of your passion for certain things, I think we should learn to put consideration for other people. You know, if you have people around you that have a need, you know, try to help them. The truth of the matter is that I don't really think there's anybody that is going to claim that they are free of this thing. You know, like I said, it's toxic and it's a bad habit.
I doubt.
So at every level you find it.
Hamilton, why do you think we acquire things that we don't need?
If I want to answer that, I would love to rephrase.
Yeah.
The word itself has a whole lot of, it's a compound word, has a whole lot of branches to it.
Okay.
I'll take myself for example. Yesterday, after eating, there was no need for me to take any other thing. I was full. But I was just passing by and I saw fish, roasted fish. I decided to sit down with a bottle of Pharaohs and finished, that catfish. I could not finish it, yeah. The remaining one, while I was folding it, the barman told me, bros, how far now? Long time. The long time I needed to quickly shift that thing to him because I knew I didn't need that fish at the time. And besides that, you find people buying lands at the village. It's not like you are planning to start a farm there. The land is just there. You have like 10 hectares.
But the
of
Bible
land.
says that a good man is that keeps inheritance for his children's
I'm
children.
going
So we're
somewhere.
keeping inheritance.
Yes, you have that land there.
Yeah.
You have like 10 of it, and you can't even remember where
Where the
some of
land
them
is.
are at the moment, because of course some of them development comes in and you are now looking for your land. Where did I really buy this thing? Okay, the road was like this. The road, that's how a lot of people lose money.
Okay.
But those lands, you'd have been able to take that money and help someone around you. I'm not saying come and help Nigeria or bless the society now. Bless the next person close to you. You have a driver that they are living in the apartment. You cannot even, you can't place it and say this is, you can't call it a house. You cannot take out of that money and say, okay, go and stay in a good place.
So what do you think about people who, or some of us that have houses like say 20 bedrooms and nobody really lives there? Would you classify that
It depends on where these houses are.
Okay.
If I have 20 bedroom in Lekki, it's an investment. If I have 20 bedroom in Asokoro, it's an investment.
Okay.
It depends on the purpose of that. It could not be classified as greed. But if I have 20 bedroom flats in my village, it's crazy.
What makes it different
My
from the
personal
one
opinion,
in Lekki?
my personal opinion, my village does not have any economic value.
I may disagree.
What if I turn it to
in
a
my
hotel?
village, you can't turn it to. I said my village.
Yes, a hotel
I
is
said
a
my own
hotel.
village.
My
village.
But I want to disagree with that. Because you've only looked at it from the perspective of investment. Because like you just said, if I have in Asokoro, if I have in Lekki, if I have... So you're looking at economic value, I can rent it out and I can do that. People that have houses in the village don't have it for the purpose of investment or whatever. So, well, maybe the word 20 rooms is exaggerated. But really, it's a relative thing because we understand why you're saying 20 rooms. You have so many rooms there. There are some people, I mean, we're in African society, and a lot of people, despite all their acrimony and all that,
yes,
a lot of people
extended
still come, extended family thing.
Everybody come
and
back home.
Everybody comes in, where will they stay? So that is why you see people building maybe
For future.
6 bedrooms so that
And they only stay there for
grandchildren,
1 week,
great-grandchildren...
One week.
Sorry?
They only stay, sometimes they just stay there for 1 week.
It does not matter.
it's
When you
purpose.
come back, you see, if you don't encourage that, what you're tell me is that I don't have an identity in my place. That's the truth.
Okay.
So it's a cultural thing. I still need to go home. And if I go home, you don't expect me to stay in a thatched house.
But primitive, touching on our topic, primitive acquisition, I think is not just the house owning properties. Like we said, it's greed, yes. So it just, I think for me, it translates to acquiring something you don't have need for.
And
But I want to say the word need. Sorry. You see, when you define it like that, I agree with you. I know where we're going to, but you see, need is a relative thing.
Okay.
Acquiring something I don't have a need for.
Yeah.
Yes, for you, yes, it is true. I may not have a need for it in the sense that maybe you're not using it very often and all that. We understand
Like you
that.
have 10
but you see,
cars
that
in
man,
one house.
yes, but that man,
10 cars.
that man that has acquired 10 cars,
Yes.
from whatever,
He has to
whatever
service it
source, he's not seeing it as the fact that he doesn't have a need. But we know that it's about greed, it's about this, it's about that. He's in a competition with himself.
Just to touch on something that I don't know how recent it was, but there was this thing that went on social media. They showed they sent pictures of, I think, Idi Amin's house, if I'm not mistaken, how dilapidated the mansion is. As in, that place had a helipad or something. It had airports, whatever, runway. But that place is dilapidated.
Okay.
So a lot of us are going, a lot of people are going through that.
Is it because he doesn't have ancestors, he doesn't have children, he
No,
doesn't have
I
this?
don't want us to
Go that far.
do this discussion
Yeah.
so that people don't think it's because you don't have it. If you don't have it,
Yeah.
don't envy those who have it.
Okay.
Because it
Good
could
one.
be misconstrued like if that's my passion, if that's my desire, it's a business about it. Now, primitive acquisition or greed, I want us to look in the light of this now. Where we first and foremost ensure that we get things moderately.
Okay.
Now, you, like you said, you cannot feed the whole world.
Yes.
You cannot make a change. You cannot become the federal government of Nigeria.
No.
The poor will always be around. But where I have a habit, I want us to look at it as from the point of habit.
Yeah.
Now, how do we translate this habit? Because those who are watching us are going to benefit from it. How do we translate this habit into something positive? How do we change from buying to turning to something positive, like investing and bringing up? Because
But this topic, sorry for cutting you short, does not really end in that circle.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it in another light. Take, for example, I'm the minister of power now,
Okay.
or I'm a general in the army, and I have a younger brother that has decided to make himself wayward. Will go and beat up an old woman, do something wrong to people, hurt people, because he knows that I'm in a position of power. I will use my influence to help him out. Then in the minister angle, okay, take for example, I'm the president. Let me not go that far.
Minister of power.
Minister of power.
Whatever.
Or whatever.
Minister.
A senator.
Now, I have one younger brother.
You look more
at
like
home.
a senator, really.
Thank you, man. I have one younger brother at home who is not skilled in building. I take all the building contracts. Let me not use building because I'm a minister of power, right? He's not skilled in anything that has to do with lighting engineering. I take him and make him a GM or make him something in one office. To be doing what?
To be acquiring money.
To be... I feel if we want to look at this topic critically, you will see that
it extends
is
beyond
also
personal.
where you turn what you're supposed to use for the public, you personalize
the
it.
person that is skilled
Okay.
on that particular field is not given the job to do. You are taking it to someone that is not skilled, then the person starts doing crazy things with it.
What you're
We
saying,
have issues with lights, we have issues with the
what
roads.
you're saying is that when you abuse your office, where you use what you are supposed to, you use your power office
That's also
to
primitive
enrich
acquisition.
abuse your power, and in the process of that, you personalize or use public thing and personalize.
That's
You see,
also
what you're
primitive
saying, you are about it
acquisition.
from different angles.
Yes. Yeah.
But the bottom line
It's a
is,
very
if you
wide topic
look
for me.
at it, what is the underlying
Reason.
character or trait or reason for that
Primitive
behavior? It's greed.
acquisition.
You know, that is it, because I want everything happening in this ministry, I want everything happening in this parastatal to revolve around me. You shouldn't go to another person, he mustn't, I'm from XYZ tribe, he mustn't go to the Igbo man, he mustn't go to
You
the Hausa man, it
understand.
must be within my family. So it's all about, that's still the underlying factor. That's still the underlying reason for that greed.
I'm trying to
Yes,
shed
it's
more
all
light
encompassing.
because some people are already narrowing it down to
buying clothes and
buying
shoes.
shoes,
Okay, no.
getting properties. No, it cut
But
across.
you know, once you look at personal satisfaction, if you begin from the point of personal satisfaction, where it doesn't matter what clothes you wear, the name of the designer you wear, but what matters most is you are covering your nakedness, and you are serving people, and you are using your office to better the lives of the people. you begin to understand that one day we'll all be accountable to God, irrespective of our powers. One day we'll be accountable to even our own children. When you begin to see life from that point of view, you begin to know that all the acquisitions end at nothing. The man that has a mansion of 20 rooms sleeps in one room.
Even the owner of Facebook, the other day he came to Nigeria, he was just wearing a t-shirt and a pair of jeans.
Yes, no, those are cultural differences. You wouldn't, a Nigerian, yes, he's covering himself. We have cultural, most Nigerians might not do that. We always love to show our wealth. But the basic point here is, how do we ensure that we avoid the abuse of office? If we are given a task to do, we do those tasks for the purpose of the task, for the purpose of the people, for the purpose of tomorrow.
To serve a greater good.
When we move away from, if we are allotted finance, and we use that finance allocated to us to do the basic needs for which we are given.
For the people.
For the people.
Because the money belongs to the people.
When we begin to look beyond ourselves, I think it will help us.
Primitive acquisitions. Okay, I like where this is heading.
No.
So how do you think we can resolve this issue?
If you ask me, first is self-accountability.
Okay.
If you if you be able to tell yourself the truth, you come in. We'll go back to what we started.
So what are you going to do?
But are we saying, I appreciate what you're saying, self-accountability starts from self, it starts from me, I agree.
Yeah.
But you see, the thing is this, I don't think there's anybody doing something wrong that doesn't know it's wrong. So people know what is wrong, and they still choose to do it. That's the problem. So it's not as if to say, the people doing it, or whatever you're doing, you don't know it's wrong. So I've been given public funds. You see, there's something in Nigeria we can't run away from. Especially it affects us, primitive acquisition affects us most when we look at it from the view of the greater population. Okay. I mean the Nigerian population. We have people in government, we have ministers, we have, name it. I mean, it runs through the whole society from one level of government to the other. You see, so this is where you see we're going beyond the personal level now, and people are acquiring properties, buying houses, and just like we said, how many are you going to use? How many are you not using? Their investment, you just call them investment. Yeah. Now, a lot of people, stolen money in this country is taken out of the country. Now, when people begin to say, we're talking of public office and accountability, just like it's starting from self-accountability. Yeah. So if I'm not self-accountable, I can't even be talking of being accountable for public funds.
Yes.
Now, but you know, in this country, we are so quick to say, after all, when Mr. XYZ was the governor, he was the one that built that road, put one pot of soup there and put something else there. After all, this other man has tried. He's the one that built XYZ road. I really think that is a very mediocre and microscopic way of looking at things. We're actually part of our problem. We don't hold people accountable. Why do I say that? It is not public office or public accountability is not a function of comparing what A did to what B did. The right yardstick for comparing or assessing performance is the resources of the people available to you. What percentage of the resources that belong to Lagos State, belong to Rivers State, belong to Kano State, belong to whatever state, what percentage of the state, of the money have you applied to do things for the people that own the money? What percentage, of course, we always know, they will tell you, this water cannot roll through the pipe without it some remaining back, meaning, they are giving themselves an excuse why they should embezzle some money. Fine, let's take it for granted that it has to happen, but it doesn't have to happen. But let's take it for granted it has to happen. So what percentage of the funds available to you did you use to execute projects meant for the people? And what percentage, as it were, disappeared into thin air? That's a real issue. So it's not about telling me Mr. A did 3 roads and Mr. B did 3 roads. It's not about that. Because if I have 100 million at my disposal and I use 99 million to execute projects, and probably I cannot account for 1 million, what if the reverse was the case?
So another thing that is causing some of these issues is not just greed, it's the fear of the unknown.
Okay.
Let me gather it now. I don't know what tomorrow will be. I told someone, I said, if you only will be contented with who you are already, you make so much progress. You make the next, you'll be able to put a smile on the next person's face. I gave an example. If I'm wrong, correct me. Those days you were earning, in one of our conversations, we discussed, you told me you got married while you were still earning 30-something thousand naira. Those days you were earning 30-something thousand naira, you were still you. You were fine with yourself, even though you wanted to be more, of course. Now those, you just pick a few things, and that 30-something thousand is able to suffice. Now you are earning 150,000. It looks as though you are not seeing any good in it. It no longer makes sense to you. Like, now you are looking for ₦1 million. Trust me, if that ₦1 million comes as your monthly salary, you will still not be satisfied, because when you get to that same supermarket, if you don't work on your lust, and of course be contented with who you are, when you're walking into that supermarket, the same wine you used to buy,
you buy for
1,000 naira, will no longer
Tastes
be
nice.
Thank you. You are now looking for the wine itself for 15,000 naira. I think that is one of the reasons why we fall into that temptation.
I don't know if that
You
is wrong,
understand?
you know, because the truth of the matter is, like I always say, you know, like at your level now, probably what you're earning. If you, just like you said, if you look back, there were some things you said when people told you that, oh, I bought a pair of shoes for 15,000 naira. You said, what?
Crazy.
What a waste of money. But now you look at yourself, you're buying shoes for 20,000 naira. The truth of the matter, like I always say, is that values change in life, whether you like it or not. But the issue is that how positively your values changing,
state you are.
and then my values can still change, and I still, you know, the Bible talks about godliness with contentment is great gain. So I don't think we are saying don't desire good things and all that, but in the course of doing that, how am I considering other people? Am I being destructive with it? You understand? So because really my values will change if I have more money.
Yes. Are there negative impacts of primitive acquisition?
Yes, there are. There are lots of it. There are lots of it now. Primitive acquisition.
So let me say, I mean, to the individual
and to the public
and to
the general public.
The general public.
Yeah, to the individual, yes, it's a waste. It gives room for waste.
But the person doesn't see it as waste.
That's what you think.
He may not see it, but that doesn't mean it's not.
Yes.
It doesn't mean, I'm not accepting the truth. It doesn't mean it's not the truth.
Okay.
It's a waste, because when you buy what you don't need and keep it in the wardrobe, you have messed up that money. You could have used it for another thing that would have been more valuable to you.
Okay.
If you have 20 shirts in your wardrobe that have been there for 1 year, you've not worn. It's 20. If you multiply the amount of that money of that shirt, is a kind of money that you've thrown away that had been idle for 1 year. You understand? That's one. Then there are the second one. I think to the general public is it's the reason for the crime, the rate of crime in our society today, is as a result of this greed thing that we talk about. Now, when people begin to be hungry because a particular position is not used as supposed to be for the people, the people become antagonistic. You understand? Now, people begin to work to begin to sometimes anger tend to turn the people into some negative vices. You understand? Now, I assuming that Hamilton is my Oga at the office. He is doing very well, and I know that the money that Hamilton is using to better his life is the money that's supposed to go around the office. Yet he's not doing it. I might be angry to go and begin to tell someone who is an idle person somewhere, this is what this Hamilton is doing. The next thing he will be giving me idea, okay, where are his children? Let's go and get his children, so that when we get his children, that money that he doesn't want to spend, we'll make him to spend it. You see that some negative ideas begin to come into the minds of people, and before you know it, the societal value is destroyed. It is important that if you are given an opportunity of stewardship, utilize, whatever thing that happens, no matter how much more food we cook in this place now, I can only eat the one that will satisfy me. You understand? So whatever. I don't see why people accumulate money, pack money in their homes, pack money that they
dig wells and
dig
all
wells,
kinds of
do
things
all
and
that.
keep
I see
money.
no, and meanwhile we don't have
even
good
the
roads. We
Bible
don't
said
have.
something. He said, if you are dining with a king, he said, put a knife to your throat. There is abundance. You can eat as you like, but the Bible is still suggesting be moderate. Put a knife to your throat. It's telling you
Meaning
just
cut
take
your
small.
appetite.
So you're
You know-
saying moderation.
I don't know if it's moderation. You see, Chooks, the area I'm actually worried about, like you've mentioned, is that we just mentioned the issue of stewardship. So I really think that this greed, let's also look at it from the perspective of what Hamilton mentioned. We take it beyond me as an individual buying shoes and bags and stuff.
Okay.
We're looking at a situation where I'm a public officer. That you know, you gave example. I'm a minister, I'm a senator, I'm a this. It's just public office. So by being a public officer, I'm a steward of the people. So some things belonging to the people, resources belonging to the people, have been entrusted to me.
That's what it is.
I'm supposed to take care of them. I'm supposed to look at them. I'm supposed to look after me, after the people that, the resources belong to the people. So why am I holding on to, why am I hogging it? Why am I holding it on to myself? I'm digging wells, I'm taking money to Swiss bank, I'm putting money here and there. Really, the area that really worries me most is, let's take it for granted. It is wrong, we're not saying it's right. You have stolen this money. You have embezzled this money. You have taken it. Money that belongs to all of us. Now, why it's so painful and we're not seeing any changes is that having taken the money, is the money productive when you dig a well, you hide it? Some have sacks of Ghana must go bags tucked away in bushes and all kinds of places in different banks under fictitious names.
And some
It's
have
not
special
yielding anything.
snakes.
So that is what worries me now.
Swallowing worms.
Look around in the economy, Nigerian economy. How many industries, how many factories, how many manufacturing plants that actually belong to the government that are still operational? All have gone
Grounded,
comatose and
grounded.
they are grounded. Now, I have so much money that belongs to everybody I've taken. My biggest problem is that they are not investing this money in the economy. Imagine if all the stolen money had been invested in industries, production, productivity, all kinds. I think a great percentage of youths, people that have graduated that don't have jobs, just imagine it. When the telecommunications industry in Nigeria came up, a lot of people that didn't have things to were doing. Recharge cards, people are selling recharge
They
cards.
became busy.
The
Why
industry,
would
till
people
today,
build
we're still feeling the
schools that
impact.
they don't have
So my
intention
problem is
to-
that having
for
embezzled
the
this
people
money,
to be
you're not
able to-
investing it in the economy. So if you invest it, it will better for everybody. And people are going to have jobs, and the families, people can eat.
You were saying something?
Yes. Why would an individual or a group of people go to build a school and your intention is not to serve the community or the people, is to get people from everywhere, the elites, to come and attend that school?
Okay, that's one thing I also need us to look into. We are a people that like to show off.
Okay.
And if people begin to stop praise singing, the issue of primitive acquisition will reduce. You know my history. I am the son of nobody, and all of a sudden, you give me an assignment to do for us, and within a short time, the son of a nobody comes back, begins to wonder, challenge the king, challenge everybody, with some talks around him, and we begin to hail him, and begin to tell him, chair. If we begin to, so our societal value, that's what I'm driving at.
In other words, we, the people, are also part of the problem.
Yes, if our societal value, if we begin to make it known to people, because there's a particular point in one country where I saw a video of a particular president accumulated a lot of wealth, had several kinds of cars, and the people came and destroyed those cars. They didn't say, I'm seizing this car for whatever, and at the end of it, you wouldn't see it. They destroyed those cars in the presence of everybody, making people to understand that these things are actually nothing. If we could get to the point where, if you know that this guy you have given this guy position, and he's not using this position to better his life, the life of the people. You go and tell this, make him accountable. You don't elect me into an office and I'm owing salaries.
Okay, so we've touched on the public fair, and like we started with, we brought it, we were talking about ourselves. We were talking about me at home, we're talking about you at home. Like we said earlier, a woman has 150, shoes. You have 80 pairs of shoes.
Chai.
You can only wear
Chooks has
one
about
pair.
1,000 pair of has about 1,000 shirts.
Uncle Chooks, you have 1,000 shirts.
I don't.
You can only wear one a day.
Yes.
Or a family of 4, you have 4 cars. And only 2 of you have to drive the cars. That's the wife and the husband. You understand? So how does this affect me as an individual? Now, we're not talking about public office holders now.
Yes.
How does this primitive acquisition, this greed, how does it affect me as the person who is in it? How does it also affect the society? Because I think someone was talking about there's this place in the village where there's a home and nobody has been there for 10 years. And it's also affecting the neighbors, because what if snakes go there and decide to have a colony?
What kind of house?
And like we said, Idi Amin's house. So these things are realities. It's affecting every one of us in one way or the other. So the negative impacts, and how can we resolve this? Now, not public office.
Yes. Now, when as a person, if you have resources that you think are too much, one of the key things I always advocate is that reach out to people.
Okay.
How do you reach out to people? You could decide to pay fees of. That's a post I saw and I love that too much.
Foundation.
Yes, it said the post said, when you're helping the poor, leave your camera at home. When you're helping the poor, leave the social media. You could set up a foundation, then start reaching out directly to people. The clothes you are having, we could all start, even myself.
I think you should.
Periodically.
Those clothes that you think you have acquired and you've not worn.
Yeah.
There are people who are walking naked around your neighborhood, around your church, around your office place. Reach out to them and give out to them. Those people are, because I had a story of a guy who lived in a neighborhood, but he wasn't too rich. But each time he comes out, he gives out some things to the guys around there. So one day, some guys were planning evil on this guy. And where they plan evil is where those guys, and some of the guys that he had been helping, we are there and they overheard that story of gang up against this guy. They just sent a message to this man, Baba, don't go this way today. People have plotted so much evil against you today, don't go through this. And through that little help this guy gave out, he was able to save his own personal life. When you hold back, you may not know what you are holding back. You might equally hold back
yourself.
So you're saying, instead of buying that new pairs of shoes that I might not need, I should use that money and help someone else.
Look out for people. You see.
But come on, it's my money. I made it. Life is once. YOLO. You only live once.
Okay, let me tell you what I told.
It's my sweat.
Okay, let me tell you what I told a group of people recently.
Can't I just enjoy it?
Let me tell you what I told a group of people recently. I said this, much as it may sound so religious. I said that there are people who are distributors of wealth. God has appointed a lot of us as distributors of wealth. That's why he looks at in a family. He chooses one and blesses that person immensely. Now, in your environment, you may have been chosen by God to be a distributor of wealth. I'm a believer of the Bible. He said there's nobody that has received anything that is not given to him by God. Now, he has given to us to distribute. And in some cases, we are not the best of whatever position we are occupying.
Exactly.
We couldn't have been there because we emerged as the best. We are there because God allowed us to be in those positions so that we can fulfill that purpose that he has called us to fulfill. Now, I tell people that we are distributors of wealth. For as long as we begin to see ourselves as distributors of wealth, when we receive this, we begin to know, because when you receive, you use the one that you're supposed to have for yourself. You understand? And the one that is not for you, you distribute it to those who they are supposed to be theirs. The Bible says something. He that giveth a seed to the sower also give bread to the eater.
Then he said money is a defense.
Yes.
Do you defend yourself by having 10 clothes on your body? You don't call that defense. When they said money is a defense, it means you're supposed to use it to build forts around you, fortification. Yes. Well, how do you do that? You do that in people, in things you can see on the opposite side,
but Mr.
not
Chukuma
on yourself.
Said that primitive acquisition is not just a rich man syndrome. He says it's also for the poor man.
Yes.
So what is it that the poor man will be greedy about?
Even the poor man has money. Everybody has something.
Everybody has something. So it's at different levels. At your level, it's at different levels.
Is what matters.
But he doesn't even have enough to buy food. So what is he going to acquire?
Now, have you seen a student whose father is a truck pusher, struggling to ensure that this student goes to school, pays fees, but this student flaunts an iPhone 8 or iPhone 10? Does she need, or does she has TV? Or in her room she has AC, she has TV. It's not about having in excess. It's about going for the things.
And this is acquiring knowledge that you are not using. It's another angle. You just keep piling up knowledge. Nobody is benefiting from it. It's another thing.
So, we've not answered my question. How does it affect me as an individual first? What is its impact on myself?
The impact on yourself is this. One, I'll use myself.
Okay.
One, it's a burden.
Okay.
I come up one day, I begin to look at, sometimes I get up, I'm so confused on how, it makes me go to work late sometimes.
Looking for what to wear.
I look for what to wear. It puts me in a confused state. When you have minimal number of clothes, or minimum number of clothes, you'll be able to select what you want to wear.
Exactly.
But sometimes you wake up, you're confused, you don't know what to wear. And in doing that, you're wasting time. And remember, time is money. So it puts you in a bit confused state. Secondly, it's a pot-leaking habit.
What do you mean?
Your purse is gradually leaking. Your money is dropping.
Okay.
Your money is going. You don't know it. You think you're impressing people. You're having much. You must not buy all. Third, you must try to have a saving. In one of our time here, I had one of us who said that she saw that as an habit, and she told herself, for any time she is pushed to buying something that she doesn't need, she will push that money away and put it in a safe. At the end, she was able to save a chunk of money to invest. Now, when you have it as a habit, before you go ahead to do it, ask yourself, do I really need this? If you want to buy, if somebody is bringing clothes for you to buy, ask the person, ask yourself. Because sometimes, personally, sometimes I buy because I want to make people sell out of pity. The person is talking to me to buy, and I look at this person out of pity. I'll buy. But instead of buying, I can find a way, instead of buying that one for my use, I can actually patronize this person for another person's purpose. So you can convert that money, instead of it for yourself,
a seed to someone.
You convert it to a seed to someone. Now, you know, in your neighborhood, there are people running around that are naked. You can also call that same person who makes clothes or who sells clothes and say, okay, look at these children, go get them something for themselves, and begin to use that money that would have used to pile in your wardrobe, affect their life. You understand? You can look for something in your neighborhood and establish. If you live in a neighborhood where a lot of children are not going to school, you could erect something and get a teacher. There are lots of people there. You bring these children to come in there, and you have this guy or the girl to come to talk to these children and get them to have a habit of learning. You understand? From there, you build something for them. That money would solve a lot of problems, because if these children are removed from that point of not knowing anything and they are taught on what to do, you see them coming, they will never forget you. They will never forget you.
Okay, thank you.
You'll be building a defense around yourself.
That's what
save your life and save that of your children's children.
I didn't ask you, Hamilton. Do you have this primitive acquisition syndrome? Is there anything
Small.
at all?
Everybody.
Is there any? Do you have any example you can share with us?
Everybody does. Well, like I gave an example initially. Sometimes you eat things that you don't need because it got your fancy.
Well, you downloaded a whole lot of
A
fish.
whole lot of. I was actually forcing it down my throat because I have this culture not to waste.
throw away food.
But how many where the
I
food
was
there now?
undoing myself. It's not even showing. You see what I'm saying?
He was eating and was transferring it through Bluetooth to me.
I was just being a waster.
Okay, so let me ask this question here. How many of us have more than one phone? What are you doing with the extra one?
It's a necessity.
How is it necessary?
It's
Some
a
people actually
necessity.
have 4
No.
phones.
Yeah, it's a necessity on the phone.
MTN, Glow, Airtel.
You don't need to have 4 phones to have all the lines.
No. You don't have to have 4
Are you
phones
talking about 4
lines.
handsets or 4 lines?
4 handsets
Okay.
Now, why it's a necessity?
plus 4 lines. What are you doing with 4 lines?
No, because of network. Like where I live, my data doesn't work very well when I go home.
Okay.
So, and sometimes you might want to do some work use
On
your-
internet and
on
all
internet, and you have to look for what works around that
Connectivity.
area. You understand? You do it. And so because of the environment we found ourselves, you can get to a place and there's no network. And you know that we have opened ourselves up to connection, talk. You find us, it becomes a necessity. But when you ask now, what kind of phone is that? That's where it also matters.
Okay.
I can buy a particular phone